Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste. Bonjour. It's a very momentous occasion for us, the two collaborators, to be coming together and hosting their international ABC webinar series, which is being inaugurated by none other than the Ambassador to France and Morocco, His Excellency Mr. Jawad Ashraf. Before we go on to the proceedings, we would like to start on an auspicious note in keeping with our Indic tradition, which is a prayer to the Almighty to bless us with a lot of positivity and courage to tide over the crisis that all of us are facing today in the form of the pandemic and to come out stronger and for better times. We have an eminent musician, Dr. Gayatri Kannan, who will be rendering the prayer, and we will also be having the virtual lighting of the lamp, since that is part of our tradition as well. Over to Dr. Gayatri Kannan. Request the host to please spotlight her. Thank you.
हम सवार की यादगारी ज्ञान का भंडार दे शायर दे वरदान दे हम सवार की यादगारी ज्योति धात्री ओ विधात्री ज्योति का उपहार दे शायर दे वरदान दे विश्व का अंधेर घट में गिर न जाए इस सफर में दीपों का आकार दे शायर दे वरदान दे हम सवार की यादगारी ज्ञान का भंडार दे शायर दे वरदान दे हम सवार की यादगारी यादगारी यादगारी
With that very melodious rendition, a prayer to our most revered goddess of learning, Saraswati, as Sharada and Jnanadayini, we move on to the proceedings of our seminar. I now request Ms. Kirtana Guhan, our intern coordinator, to introduce Dr. Malini Ranganathan to the audience. Ms. Kirtana, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Malini Ranganathan, Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Awardee. She's a French national of Indian origin and she's settled in France for the past 38 years. Academically, she's a doctorate in didactics of educational sciences, highlighting the cross-cultural context from the European University, and is a researcher, professor in international business management for MBA students at the ISG Nantes. She has created a special module of doing business in India with focus on better understanding of India and France. She is an internationally known qualified Kathak dance exponent and has performed extensively in India, the USA, Canada, and Europe, particularly in France. She is the founder, director, choreographer of Kathak at Bindi and has trained numerous foreign students, especially French, creating a new Kathak protocol. She has built closer links between India and Indian diaspora and France, being at the forefront of strengthening the France-Indian relationship. She has been honored for extraordinary cultural service and contribution for the promotion of India in France with Pravasi Bharatiya Samman from the Honourable President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovind in Varanasi 2019, in the presence of Honourable Prime Minister, Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi and other dignitaries. She has received the Medal of Excellence by the French Ministry and the City Council of Nantes for contribution to Indo-French culture since 1983. She has also received the Certificate of Recognition by CID UNESCO, Paris, France. She has received the Global Achievers Award 2020 in recognition of outstanding professional achievement and contribution in nation building, IAF, New Delhi. She's been recognized by the Government of India. She has received the 50 NRI Achievers Award and Atmanirbhar Bharat Award, SIWA Award, Chennai, among others. She has made several scientific publications and paper presentations in international journals and conferences in both English and French. We're very glad to have you here, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Kirtana. That was wonderful. I will start by saying namaste, bonjour to all of you. I would like to begin by extending a very warm welcome to all the guests and take this opportunity of specially thanking the dignitaries present today for our unique Indo-French collaborative series, Adbhut Bharat Celebrations, an educative exploration of Indian cultural ethos under the high patronage of Embassy of India in France, and on the occasion of the Amrit Mahotsav, showcasing the Indian cultural heritage and soft skills covering different domains. It is indeed a privilege and honor to have the most distinguished representative of our country in France, His Excellency Sri Jawad Ashraf, Ambassador of India to France and Monaco, to grace this event. In fact, it is immensely gratifying to note that His Excellency, despite his extremely busy, tight schedule, has found our ABC International Webinar Service series worthwhile as a contribution to give the inaugural address. I'm overwhelmed by the patronage and the support extended to us by the Embassy of India, Paris. On this occasion, I also extend my sincere thanks to Sri Naman Upadhyaya, Second Secretary, Press, Information and Culture, for his constant help and guidance, which is of great importance. I'd like to thank all Indian partners from who've been supporting us, namely the ICCR, Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Culture. I'm extremely grateful also to be blessed with the presence of an esteemed guest, an ocean of knowledge, Dr. Padma Subramanyam, Padma Bhushan Awardee, President of Nrityodaya, Chennai, from India. On the French side, I'm pleased to welcome Professor Dr. Alkis Raftis, President of International Dance Council, Paris, France, the official partner of UNESCO, as our eminent guest. I'd also thank Mr. Constantin Contigianis, Vice President, International Dance Council, for this help. I'm happy to collaborate with the Center of Excellence, Art and Culture from Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasun Jain College for Women, and I thank Secretary Sri Abhaya Sri Srimal Jain for having accepted to present the felicitation address. I now offer my deepest thanks to the Mayor of Nantes and the City Council, whose support has been primordial in establishing this Indo-French ties for almost 40 years. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Denis Rostand, President of Bindi, Nantes, a non-profit Indo-French Center of Indian Art and Culture, and my heartfelt thanks to him, its staff, and students for their support and confidence in all my endeavors. I finally thank GoPure France for being our partner, and I welcome President Mr. Mehen Puniswamy to join us. I therefore now request Ms. Kirtana Guhan to present Dr. Raj Shivasidevan, who will be presenting the concept note. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Natya Selvi Dr. Raj Shivasidevan is a disciple of Padma Bhushan Dr. Padma Subramanyam, Chennai, and Dr. Rajshree Rajagopalan, Mumbai. She's trained in Bharatanatyam, Kuchipudi, Manipuri, Carnatic music, yoga with more than 3 decades of experience in teaching and lecturing in the field of performing arts and aesthetics. She has performed for prestigious organizations in India, UK, USA, Canada, Mauritius, Malaysia, Singapore, and France. She is a gold medalist in academics, a doctorate in philosophy, Indian aesthetics, junior research and senior research fellow, UGC and Ministry of Culture, Government of India. She's a popular resource person for dance, Indian philosophy, culture, heritage, aesthetics, and poetry in universities of India and abroad. She has done various paper presentations and publications in national and international conferences. She has held senior academic positions in well-known institutions, Humanities in Charge School of Liberal Education, Shasun Jain College, member Board of Studies and Examination Dance, Universities of Madras, Trichy, Pune, Indira Gandhi National Open University, IGNOU, South India, founder head Natya, five-year integrated course, University of Madras under her guru, Dr. Padma's guidance. Her article in Classical and Folk Dance of Tamil Nadu from 1600 AD to the present, published in ABS Madras Gazette Project, released by Honourable Governor of Tamil Nadu, is part of most libraries worldwide. She has to her credit more than 350 poems, a book of 350 poems and a book of poems, Ruminations, released at the 5th World Congress of Poets, San Francisco, USA. She is a co-committee member in the National Delphic Council, Tamil Nadu chapter. We're very glad to have you here, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Kirtana. In the presence of such distinguished guests, I have to stop a moment to think what we are actually doing and what we are speaking. It is rightly said, a people without the knowledge of the past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Regardless of how well we adapt to any cultural environment, we always need to remain aware of our own roots, the values and beliefs we are brought up with, the worldview that was ingrained into us, the experience that we had throughout our lives, and the characteristics that make us who we are. Let us see the definition given by the UN World Commission on Culture and Development report from our creative diversity. It says, culture is the whole complex of distinctive spiritual, material, intellectual, and emotional features that characterizes a society or a group. It includes creative expressions, community practices, and material, all built forms. The pandemic has thrown the entire world out of gear. Lockdowns, though necessary, have led to a negative and pessimistic mindset. It is in these times that we have been invigorated by delving deep into our own ancient traditions, which are since still relevant today. Every country, every community is strongly tied together by an intricate tapestry of individual values, norms, and a specific history. So to understand a culture is really to understand the people themselves. Culture is then a matrix of infinite possibilities and choices. Our Indic traditions are like the proverbial tree of life, with deep roots of antiquity and a wide range of space. So also with the French traditions, both ancient civilizations yet modern nations. Hence, it is only natural that we explore the Indo-French connections from the earlier times till now. The plan for this series is multi-pronged, since our cultural ethos itself is so multi-layered. Bindi will host an expert from France, and we at Center of Excellence Art and Culture, an expert from India, covering a wide gamut of art forms, both fine and performing arts, ranging from cuisine to architecture. Some scholars opine that the word culture or even couture in French comes from kalachara, which is a term which is used in our tradition, meaning the concept of an integrated person who has a holistic vision, and he manifests it in his verbal expressions as also in his deeds. And that is what we are looking for in our international webinar series. And we have also realized in the process of exploring the different experts that there are so many across the globe, many Indians who are settled abroad, and many people who are not Indian by birth, but who are so touched by Indology, that their contributions are seminal. We would like to include all of them in our webinar series, though it is a high task. I'm sure with the high patronage of the Embassy of France, as also the different organizations who have come together to support us, I'm sure we can make this possible. And with the guidance of a great guru like Dr. Padma Subramanyam, I'm sure nothing is impossible. From what I know, that word doesn't exist in her dictionary. So this is very briefly the game plan for our international webinar series. We plan to have one every month right up till March. And depending on how it is being received, we hope to carry it forward from then on. Thank you so much for being with us today, and over to the next part, which is the great fortune that I have in requesting Dr. Malini to introduce our ambassador, the chief guest for today, before he gives his inaugural address. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So yes, we are really privileged to have Ambassador, His Excellent Mr. Jawad Ashraf amongst us today. As I already said, he has taken time for us, and I will always be extremely grateful and thankful for it. He is a career diplomat, and he joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1991, served in Frankfurt and Berlin between 1993 and 1999. He also worked at the Americas Division of Ministry of External Affairs in New Delhi from 1999 to 2004. When he completed his 3 years tenure as counselor, Embassy of India in Kathmandu, 2007. And he also served as the counselor and Minister of Political Affairs at the Embassy of India, Washington, D.C. from 2007 to 2010. Further, he headed the American Division of Ministry of External Affairs in New Delhi from 2010 to 2012. Subsequently, he served as Joint Secretary in Prime Minister's office under former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and then Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi. Responsibilities that he had during his tenure at Prime Minister's office included External Affairs, Defense, National Security Council, Atomic Energy and Space. He then returned to serve at the Ministry of External Affairs in January 2016 and was Joint Secretary for Special Projects. Ambassador Jawad Ashraf served as High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Singapore from November 2016 to July 2020. He studied economics at St. Stephen's College, New Delhi, and management at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. He published a coffee table book on his photographs, a day of life of Kathmandu, dedicated to the victims of Nepal earthquake of April 2015. His interests in outdoor activities, of course, include tennis and trekking in the Himalayas. He is married to Dr. Ghazala Shahabuddin, an ecologist and conservation biologist I hope to meet. Thank you very much. Ambassador, we'll be blessed to hear your speech. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Dr. Malini Ranganathan. Again, that was a rather long resume. As you might have seen, Yeah, there's nothing in it about France as yet, but it's a great privilege to have come to France in the last 1 year. Thank you very much. You've been a great ambassador of India here, more than we have been for the past 38 years. Not just in the field of culture, where you have contributed immensely, both through your performances and by teaching and training a generation, several generations of dancers here in France and in Europe, but also as an academician and as someone who sought to build a bridge between the youth of the two countries. So thank you very much. It's this series of lectures, which promises to be really exciting, is again a symbol and a reflection of your commitment to promoting engagement between India and France. Very honored, very privileged to speak in the presence of I should say Padma Bhushan, Dr. Padma Subramanyam ji. You are, again, one of the main reasons why Chennai continues to be the most vibrant center of Indian culture, which I have seen from my very privileged position in Singapore, which almost feels like an extension of Chennai in many ways. Thank you for being here today, and I think your presence lends this event and this series a great deal of gravitas. Honored also to have Professor Alkis Raftis here. The amount of work you have done, the books you have edited, the cause you have promoted for culture and in International Dance Council is a huge contribution to humanity. I'd like to also thank Dr. Rajshree Vasudevan and to Rajshree Sri Mal. I know you're a partner institution today, Shasun, and there is no better way to connect France to India than through Chennai, and you also represent a great institution. To all the members here, well, in the midst of such eminent people, first, I stand out as the odd one with nothing by way of expertise or experience in the field of culture. And second, I always scratch my head as to what should I say in the presence of those who have devoted their life to culture. But I think the topic is very interesting, very thought-provoking. And in many ways, when we speak of culture as a unifier, we recognize that there is sometimes a problem and sometimes a need to do something to address those problems. First of all, of course, coming from India, we are the inheritors of one of the greatest civilizations, one of the greatest cultural, spiritual traditions in the world, one that has always embraced the world, but at the same time, enriched it in its own unique way. We have contributed immensely to make this world what it is today. And it is the reflection of our diversity, our pluralism, that is deeply embedded in our cultural traditions, in our spiritual traditions, that we are what we are today as Indians. We are a democracy, not simply because we inherited it or that we wrote a constitution. That is like a stream that has run, like a river that has run timelessly through Indian region, Indian civilization. The idea of debate, it is there in the concept of Vedanta, the cosmic oneness, but also in the idea that the truth is one, the wise see it in different ways. I mean, I can't say that in Sanskrit without stumbling over my words, but you can understand that it is this idea of the truth being one and of wise people seeing it in different ways. That has always permeated our thought processes and which has led us to believe in Vasudeva Kutumbakam, the world is one family. And it is why today we are a country where you can actually have 22 official languages, hundreds of languages which are perhaps minor, not yet in the constitution as official languages, thousands of dialects, cuisine, art, dance forms, folk art forms that changes almost every 100 kilometers. So every village could have her own deity. Every village could have their own way of celebrating the divine and the spiritual. And we see this in almost boundless forms of folk traditions and the classical traditions. And it is very interesting that perhaps more than anywhere else in the world, our dance forms, our classical dance is not just an aesthetic expression, it is a deeply held spiritual expression. It comes from the same fountains of religious and spiritual tradition, and which is why it continues to prosper, thrive just in a changing world. In many ways, it continues to give us that sense of continuity, that sense of who we are. And therefore, culture, as we just heard, is in a sense, a reflection of a people. And when we look at ourselves, we see that there is this sense of unity that permeates India. But it is also a country where that unity springs from our ability to nurture our diversity, that the fact that every human being, that every society, every community, every sense of faith has the space to express itself, not just to express itself, but also embrace the other, to appreciate the other, is what makes us today such a vibrant society and vibrant community. And I think that when you look at the world today, there is once again we have to recognize that nature is defined by diversity, that there is this great balance and harmony in nature, and that harmony and balance comes in a nature that knows nothing other than diversity. If you just look at the birds in the world, if you look at the wildlife, you look at the fauna and flora, you recognize that what defines nature. Same thing with people. And today we are slowly losing that diversity. Even in linguistic diversity is slowly getting eroded because of the spread of different factors. And that we need to nurture this if we have to continue to make this world a beautiful place. The second important thing is that we are witnessing once again the rise of identity as a primary expression of people in politics, in international relations, within societies. And it is also leading to fault lines, it is leading to frictions, it is leading to new boundaries coming up, people retreating behind the boundary walls of their identity. The sense of us versus the other is growing. It is expressing itself in things that are actually alien to nature, which is hate, division, etc. And therefore, there is a great need to bring people together once again. And it can't just be the dialogue in terms of political dialogues. It can't be in terms of what we do as diplomats, because we often speak to the deaf, we hear nothing, we speak our points of view. It is by connecting people again, by bringing the hearts and minds of our youth together. Ironically, we live in the illusion that we are in the internet age where you can Google everything and you get to know what is happening in the world. I think it is actually amplifying our stereotypes, our prejudices, which is we are beginning to live in echo chambers with those whom we have something in common, with whom we feel familiar. And therefore the gap keeps increasing, though we think we are constantly engaging each other. The role of culture now is becoming the preeminent. And it isn't just about performing arts. It isn't just about visual arts. It is about philosophical traditions. It is about spiritual traditions. It's about the little things that we do. It's about the cuisine. And everything actually is embodied within a particular system. And then when we begin to connect with each other, perhaps we will be able to bridge those distances. And it brings me back to UNESCO. You know, when UNESCO was created, it wasn't just about promoting education and cultural traditions in the world, that it was meant to support the fundamental UN objective charter, which was peace and stability in the world, peace, security, and stability in the world. And UNESCO was meant to fulfill that objective in the long term. That is, when we bring the people of the world together in appreciation of each other's traditions, cultures, philosophies, systems, ethos, we will perhaps build those bridges of understanding. And so I often believe, and I really believe, the unique aspect of culture is that in a world of boundaries and barriers, it is the only real bridge. And that the unique thing about culture is that it can unify us even as it celebrates our diversity. So it can fulfill both functions. It can bring people together, and it can at the same time also celebrate the diversity of this world. India and France, of course, have been long-standing strategic partners. There is almost great attraction between people of France and people of India because we are both proud inheritors of this great heritage of civilization, of our culture, of our languages, of what we stand for. And it is the sense of our own esteem for the idea of culture and heritage and tradition that we begin to respect each other. And France and India are great examples of it. And there was a time when colonialism began that there was a need for Europe to understand Asian societies where they were going as traders, rulers, pursuit of kingdoms. At the end of colonialism, it changed. It retreated to the universities and colleges where scholars who were interested in each other's cultures and traditions and literature and epics and things began to study each other. But there is a new need today. And this new need I've highlighted. It's an interconnected world. But even more, the reality is that the world is once again being shaped by the developments in the Indo-Pacific region. France is an Indo-Pacific power, Indo-Pacific country. When I think of Angkor Wat, I think of our contribution and I think of French discovery and what have we together given this 20th and 21st century world. So in the Indo-Pacific region is where the world will be shaped. The need to understand each other, need for France and Europe to re-engage and to understand the evolving Asia, and at the same time, the enduring and timeless Asia, a timeless India, and a new India is become even more imperative. And as strategic partners, it is important as democracies for our people to connect with each other, for them to appreciate each other, for them to understand each other. And therefore, I think, once again, the study of culture, the appreciation, the awareness, the understanding of in every form has become not just a matter of appreciation, but a strategic priority and necessity in today's world. And therefore, the role that you, Dr. Malini Ranganathan, and the others are playing today is invaluable. What you're doing on a daily basis is far more than what we can do as an embassy, and in the way you are able to reach out, and the way, for example, today Shasun is joining this great endeavor is perhaps one of the best ways to bridge. And today, when we are celebrating 75 years of India's independence and 75 years of India-France relationship and strategic partnership. And next year, we really want to celebrate this with a mega Festival of India in France, in Paris, and in other cities, of course, where we want to bring all that is timeless and enduring about India, and at the same time, all that we have achieved in this wonderful 75 years of journey as an independent nation. But the centerpiece to me, since we want to address the public, is going to be centered around art, literature, philosophy, culture, religion, performing arts, visual arts, folk arts, food, cuisine, everything, the five senses that India represents better than anybody. We want to bring it here, and with your support, with all of your blessings, it is going to be a huge endeavor, but it will only be a great journey, a fun journey, when all of us do it together, when we're all part of this great exercise. So let me again wish this a great success. Thank you very much, Padma Subramanyam ji, for joining us today, to Dr. Professor Alkis Raftis, to Raj Shivasidevan ji, to Shasun, and to Bindi organizations for being a partner in taking this endeavor forward. Look forward to hearing the rest of the series. So thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, sir. It was at once full of perspicacity, identifying the positives and negatives of the world today, and of course, sagacious advice from a diplomat's perspective. So I think we couldn't have asked for a better inaugural address. So thank you so much, sir, for that, for agreeing to be with us and to giving us what we really need today. So we move on to the address by none other than the doyen of Indian art today, Dr. Padma Subramanyam, Padma Bhushan awardee. She's known worldwide, but it is only befitting that I give a brief introduction about her achievements, a near impossibility, because encapsulating an entire lifetime of work is no mean task. An Indian classical dancer, research scholar, choreographer, music composer, musician, teacher, Indologist, and author. She is all these roles playing together and more. Her correlated research of temple dance sculptures, the Natyashastra text based on the Marga system of Karanas, and practical reconstruction of it resulted in the uniquely vigorous yet gentle and graceful form of Bharatanatyam. Equally learned in different languages, especially in Tamil and Sanskrit, she is a guide for many research scholars and a member of several education boards, including the Indo-US Subcommission for Education and Culture. Under the divine guidance of the 68 Shankaracharya of the Kanchi Mutt, she has designed the 108 sculptures of Shiva and Parvati in black granite for the Nataraja temple at Satara, Maharashtra, and the Bharata Ilongo Foundation of Asian Culture in Mamallapuram, Tamil Nadu. She has performed in practically every notable city worldwide with lectures and workshops at various universities and prestigious cultural organizations. Her awards are numerous. They're just 130. I think probably if we have several lives, we may not be able to achieve that kind of an awardship. Padma Bhushan 2003 from Government of India, Padma Shri 1981 from Government of India, Sangeet Natak Academy Award 1983, Government of India, Kalaimamani Award, Government of Tamil Nadu, Kalidas Samman, Government of Madhya Pradesh, Nishagandhi Puraskaram, Government of Kerala, Lifetime Achievement Awards at Goa, Toronto, and Singapore, Nada Brahman from Naradagana Sabha in Chennai, Bharata Shastra Rakshamani from the Jagadguru Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram. Some of the other awards are the Nehru Award in 1983 from the Soviet Union and the Fukuoka Asian Cultural Prize from Japan for her contribution to the development and harmony in Asia. Several films and documentaries have been made in her honor by Japan, Australia, Russia, and others. And this is a kind of, as I said, an encapsulation which has been difficult to achieve for the simple reason that what she does not only thoroughly, but with a very wide range, taking the entire world as her stage. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome, introduce Dr. Padma Subramanyam, our revered guru. And we hope that she will be able to speak today in her usual way because she has been suffering from a throat infection. And I think all our prayers continuously for the past few days have brought her here today. So thank you so much, Paduka, as we affectionately call her, and over to you.
Thank you. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let me first say Vande Mataram to my motherland when she's celebrating the 75th anniversary of her attaining freedom. Respected His Excellency Jawad, Ashraf, what a wonderful speech it was. It came like a waterfall, fresh waters coming, not reading, but it was all coming and flowing like honey. Thanks for that wonderful speech. I'm meeting him after a long time, after meeting him in Singapore, where he was very popular as a patron of arts. respected Professor Alkis, Raftis, President of the International Dance Council, UNESCO, Shri Abhay Kumar Jain, Dr. Malini Ranganathan, the Artistic Director of Bindi, Dr. Raj Shivasidevan. Thank you all for involving me in this conference on culture as a global unifier, a subject very close to my heart. It's close to my heart because of two reasons. One is exposure to history, and the other one is personal experience. Having traveled and having seen people for over 65 years. UNESCO is very close to my heart because my father, Director K. Subrahmanyam, was honorary state liaison officer for UNESCO in 60s. And I grew listening to him talking about UNESCO, and our dance institution was a UNESCO information center till he lived. And I was a chotu helping in the library. I had the unique honor of performing in UNESCO in 1971 when there was an international Tamil conference. Culture is a very beautiful subject. It has so much beauty in every sense of the term. And our ambassador has already given a wonderful introduction to it. The centenarian sage of Kanchi, Rajshree Chandrasekharendra Saraswati, the 68th pontiff of Shankaracharya Mata, had explained culture as that which has its root in Kal. And it's a common root for both Tamil and Sanskrit, and to some extent, English also. Because from Kal, we have Kalvi, meaning education, Kalachara, which means following the footsteps of our forefathers in the right direction. And Kala is art. You have college in English, colloquium, then you have congregation. All these come out of the same root, Kal. It is the foundation in recognizing the collective cognizance of the past, respecting that heritage endowed by history, and assimilating and integrating that knowledge into the future. That is culture. And it is common to humanity at large, which had originated in some parts of our globe and percolated in other directions. The official magazine of UNESCO, the Courier, reveals the historicity in the awesome natural process of networking that human culture had undergone. Perhaps before transport system magnified and communication became cosmic through technology, man migrated from continent to continent, braving distances, enabling cross currents of cultural values, and enriched human development. It's a matter of pride that India is recognized by historians from all over our planet as a center of global unification through her spiritual culture which encompasses all aspects of refined living. Her imprints are seen in all directions. It is imperative that we look back and look into our history so that we can move forward better. Even a fast bowler takes a few steps backwards before he can have a good throw of his ball forward. India had done all this with no intention to politically colonize, but her imprints are there all over the world, even today. It is recognized, sometimes goes unnoticed also. India had interactions with Europe as early as 10th century BCE. As per archaeological evidences, ships regularly sailed between the mouth of Indus and Persian Gulf. We know that apart from ivory, peacocks, and apes for decoration of palaces, cultural ambassadors were on board. The dancers from Rajasthan, numbering a few hundreds, were sent to the court of Solomon. They are described as the forgotten children of India. That is, the roving band of artistic people, I mean the gypsies. Scholars like Max Muller, Gabe, Wintonitz, and others talk of the Indian Brahmins in Persia, Asia Minor, and Alexandria as attested by Greek and Persian traditions. The theories of Pythagoras, circa 550 BCE, and the earlier Sankhya system of India are very similar. The theory of geometry is traced back to Indian Shulba Sutra, which Indian scholars believe was the foundation on which the Saraswati River civilization had developed her buildings and townships. Plato toured Asia and perhaps India also. This was again before 347 BC. His ideas of bondage of soul to matter and its liberation and theory of reincarnation are distinctly Indian. I consider my dance tour of Greece as a pilgrimage. Visiting Greece was really a pilgrimage for me. It would be a pilgrimage for anyone who reads history. Evidences for the presence of the Brahmins and Buddhists in Alexandria from 3rd century BC denote the intellectual fellowship that contributed to the fundamental principles of Christian Gnosticism and the new Platonism. The Indian conception of Vak, that is word, personified in Rig Veda as divine power, seems to have passed into Christianity as early as seen in the Gospel of St. John. The essence of Palestine, according to historian Mahaffy, where the Buddha bhikshus and missionaries, and therefore forerunners of Christ. The Hindu Puranas refer to Egypt as Mishra Desha, that is, country of mixed race. Astronomy was a gift of India to Babylonians. They refer to the muslin cloth as Sindhu, that is, cloth from the region of Sapta Sindhu, land of 7 rivers, which has now become land of 5 rivers, that is Punjab. Traces of Indian culture in America goes back to even prehistoric period. America is antipode of India and is considered as Patala of Hindu Purana. Mayans worshipped Hindu gods. Sir William Jones says that the Peruvians of South America claimed descent from solar generations. They were sun worshippers like the Hindus. They are said to have a festival named Ramasita. Vidwan Chamanlal in his Hindu America has brought out these tremendous similarities. He says it's beyond doubt that the Hindus were first to discover America. Influence of Vedic culture is seen in the 14th century BCE inscription found in Mogulkul. It is a treaty between two tribes known as Hittites and Mitannis, invoking Vedic gods Mitra, Varuna, Indra, and Ashwins as witness. Before the advent of Islam in Arabia, many Hindus seem to have lived there with worship of Shiva as Makkesha, from which the name Mecca was derived. I myself had the opportunity to visit in Bahrain an archaeological site called Apsu, where I came across the foundation of a very old temple, probably dedicated to Shiva as the element of water. Up in Sanskrit means water. And I came across a part of that archaeological site, a square where there is seepage of a spring. That must have been the shrine. It can be compared to the Tiruvanekar temple in Tamil Nadu, where the main shrine is a spring personified as Shiva. The manuscripts remains of Turkmenistan have brought to light a formidable mass of Buddhist literature. When I had the opportunity to dance there as a part of India Festival, I came to know that on the Pamir mountain ranges, there is a tribe who speak an unknown language and that they have 2,000 verses on Mother Goddess. This is Navaratri. At least let us think of that. I was struck with wonder, for according to Puranic geography, Pami is Mount Meru, which is referred to in Tamil as the energy knot of the whole earth, Malai Mudichu. As a three-dimensional form of the Sri Chakra of the Tantric Shakti cult, Meru is worshipped even today. Today in my home, Meru has been worshipped morning and evening. And she is the nodal center for energy of the entire cosmos. So, the first Arab invasion of Sindh was in 8th century. In 9th century, the Kerala king, Cheraman Perumal, got converted and left for Arabia, where he died. But the kings of Kerala had a soft corner for Muslims who were included in their multicultural policy. Arabic and Persian scholars have indelible marks of the assimilation of admirable factors from India. Among them are Al-Jahiz, 9th century, Yaqubi, 9th century, and Al-Indrisi, 10th century. Their impressions are dealt with by Sisir Kumar Mishra in his book, India's Cultural Empire and Her Future. Al-Biruni was in India for 13 years from 1017 AD. He had said in his writing thus, Hindus believe with regard to God that he is one, unquote. This reminds me of Swami Dayananda Saraswati declaring that while many religions proclaim that there is only one God, Hindu philosophy proclaims that there is only God. We are quite aware of the historic and cultural and even religious links India has enjoyed with the whole of Asia. It was Dharmakirti, a Buddhist monk from Kanchipuram, South India, who went to China and spread Zen Buddhism. Zen is the local pronunciation of dhyan or meditation. The pre-Buddhist religion called Shinto in Japan is mainly Surya worship in the form of Mother Goddess Amaterasu, that is Amara Tejas, that is eternal light. This is close to Gayatri cult of the Vedic religion. It is said that the nobles of China were patrons of Indian music, particularly string instruments and certain modes of dancing. The Tang Emperor had employed Indian astronomers for preparing their almanac. Even children in India know of the two names of the Chinese travelers, Fahian and Huansang. In the 1st century BC, a Brahmin by name Kaundinya went to Cambodia in Sanskrit, that is Cambodia. And our ambassador spoke about Angkor Wat. I don't want to repeat, but what I would like to say is, it is the dance of Cambodia today is called Apsara Dance. Apsara is the Hindu nymph, the dancing nymph, and the name was given to Cambodian dance by Queen Mother when the present princess, Her Highness Bhupa Devi, danced when she was young. Only from that time, Cambodian dance came to be called Apsara. And this was told to me by Her Highness Princess Bhupa Devi herself. Thailand is known to have 80% Sanskrit in their language. The dances of Cambodia, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, all of them have Indian influence. In fact, even in India, every night we don't have a Ramayana performance, but in Indonesia, every night there is a Ramayana concert at the Prambanan temple in central Java. And I would like to say here, there's something special about Prambanan temple I want to add. The dance sculptures, particularly the Karana sculptures that I discovered in Prambanan temple, completely tallied with my designs for the sculptures of Uttara Chidambaram Nataraja Mandir that was built about 30 years ago in Satara. So this was a link beyond time and space. I didn't even know about the existence of these sculptures in Prambanan at that time. The year 1671 was a landmark in India's cultural expansion. The French traveler Bernier carried a manuscript of Upanishads translated into Persian by the Mughal prince Dara Shikoh. Here we see a wonderful harmony between Christian and Muslim seekers of peace respecting Hindu scripture. This is true culture. In the 18th and 19th centuries, three important Englishmen who aimed at Hindu and European learning were Sir Charles Wilkins, Sir William Jones, and Colebrooke. Jones founded the Asiatic Society in 1784 and translated important Sanskrit texts. Colebrooke founded Indian philology and archaeology. They were all symbols of global unity through culture. French scholar Paul Renaud was a pioneer in discovering and printing parts of Natya Shastra. He was the first. And his pupil, Franz Grosset, continued that work in 1888. I request Gayatri to continue. Dr. Gayatri will continue for next few.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Here we see a synthesis of science and religion and metaphysics. The book Tower of Physics by Fitz Capra has a scientific proof of the philosophy of the cosmic dance of Shiva from the point of view of atomic physics. This is more than knowledge. It is the wisdom that culture teaches. 20th century made much history in the world of in the performing arts. The Westerners yearned to learn Indian dance. Among the Western pioneers is Ted Shawn, who came to India and took with him an arch in the model of the Arch of Nataraja idol. He danced within it with great passion. Among the Indian artists who shot to great fame all over the world are Uday Shankar and Ram Gopal. It was Anna Pavlova, the Russian ballerina, who inspired Rukmini Devi Arundel to learn Indian classical dance. Her founding the Kalakshetra is well-known history. Other important names of dancers who created interest globally were Madam Menaka, Sadhana Bose, and Zora Sehgal. Pandit Ravi Shankar caught the eye of the Beatles, and their collaboration must be written in golden letters in the world history of music. Lata Mangeshkar's voice has been reverberating all over our globe, inspiring harmony beyond political boundaries. Great film actors like Raj Kapoor and Rajnikant are unquestioned names for fan clubs all over the world. The Bollywood films are one definite binding force between India and Pakistan. Rajnikant's films are a huge box office hits in Japan and, of course, in the Near East like Singapore, Malaysia, and Sri Lanka. The French dancer Malavika is a pioneer, and her student Dominique and several other students from France have learned Indian dance with the helping hand of ICCR of External Affairs Ministry of Government of India. ICCR has helped students from around the world to study in India. The Indian diaspora, which includes several artists and teachers, have been cultural ambassadors enabling meaningful cross-cultural values without respecting their respect to heritage. They have been an intangible source of global unification. Their presence is a strength to the government agencies to promote harmony, peace, and understanding mutual values. I cannot but narrate an incident in my life. I was returning.
Thank you, Gayatri. Connected. Thank you, Gayatri, for filling up the gap. Well, one of the cultural ambassadors from India has been our Malini, who has been doing wonderful work for almost 4 decades. God bless you. I cannot but help narrate one or two personal experiences. I was returning from Germany after my dance program there with my group of 10. Our flight had some technical problem and it had to have an emergency landing where, Karachi. And at that time, India and Pakistan had very difficult times. We did not have even transit visas. And we were the only Indians in the flight. Seeing all of us, all of us had to be vacated from the flight because there was some major problem. And with a little bit of hesitancy, we got down. But we were seeing our saris. They knew that we are all from South India. And we were very happy that we got some unexpected smile from the airport officials in Karachi. That was very encouraging. I went to them. I braved, went to them, asked for the telephone number of two great musicians of Pakistan, Salamat Ali Khan and Nazakat Ali Khan, who I knew earlier. We had performed together in Afghanistan some years earlier. Mentioning those names had a magic effect on the officials in the airport, and it triggered some hospitality for us. You know something? They gave us chapati, they gave us even pan, and they treated us so well. And why did you think all this was possible? Because of the music of the Pakistani brothers, and they knew I am a dancer from South India. That was the thing that triggered that human element. And this is what culture achieves in the midst of unnecessary animosity. I have quite a few instances in my life like this, but I don't want to take any more of your time. So as a performer, I strongly feel that it is culture and culture alone that can be a unifier. We have to have bilateral agreements at the government level. They are important, but it is only a performing delegation or a film that can take culture closer to the common man. People to people relationship is possible only through performances. And because culture catches hold of the hearts of people, it is called soft power. Now culture has come to be recognized as soft power, but I would think culture is a soft but powerful power. Thank you so much for calling me, and my best wishes for the entire series. I'm waiting to listen to Professor, the great Professor of Dance, historian of dance. Sir, I'm waiting to hear you, and one day maybe you should come to India. Come, I will personally take you if you've not visited our dance sculptures in our temples. I think I know something about dance sculptures. I would be your personal guide. I'll take you around and show you the beauty and the fluidity of movements that you find in stone, which will be something only a person like you can enjoy. Thank you so much for calling me. Once again, my best wishes for your entire series.
Thank you so much, Dr. Padma. We could see the kind of effort that you had to put in despite your ill health to be with us, and that only shows your complete dedication to the art and that your great desire to reach out to people and reveal to them the importance of culture as a unifier. And I think you are rooted in India only physically. Your thought is truly universal. And your invitation to Professor Raftis was so warm and so encouraging. I think you're going to be having to host a lot more people who are there in the session and who would want to come to India as soon as the COVID protocols are released. So thank you so much for that. Over now to the talk by Professor Raftis, before which I request Dr. Malini to kindly introduce him to our audience today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, once again, let me thank Paduka for such a wonderful speech. Especially, I'm so thankful that you could be present despite your sore throat, and you could take time to talk to us about culture. It was absolutely enlightening, and even I want to come and join your tour if you would accept. Thank you so much, Paduka. I just now start presenting Professor Dr. Alkis Raftis, who is, first of all, a dear friend of mine, and I thank you enormously to be present here. He is the current president of International Council of Dance, which is called CID in France. He holds degrees from 4 universities and has learned 8 languages. He has taught at 4 universities and lectured in another 20. As you can see, he has authored 22 books on dance, culture, and management, edited 28 books, 8 CDs, 9 CD-ROMs, and a bi-monthly review, as well as 50 websites at the www.raftis.org. I do not know how he finds time for this, but it is just amazing. He has held top posts in industrial, banking, and cultural organization, which are extremely varied. Presently, he's the president of National Dora Stratu Dance Theater in Athena. And of course, Dr. Alkis Raftis is so popular, and every meeting of CID, we want to have him. So he travels to another country each month to attend different meetings of International Council of Dance, which is the official partner of UNESCO. And in spite of all this busy schedule, he has made some time to be present for our meet. I really thank you a lot, Professor, and I invite you to speak a few words. Thank you very much.
My sound okay? Thank you. Your Excellency, I was impressed by your speech. I learned a lot from you, and I hope someday to meet you, because although you are not a dance professional or a cultural professional, sometimes you have shown a vision of culture that we workers of cultures do not have. And then I would say hello to Dr. Kondoyanis, who is the head of the CID headquarters in Paris within UNESCO, handling all the diplomatic relationships with delegations, embassies, and national governments. And then I would say hello to Dr. Padma, whose invitation is something no one can refuse, I would say. And I will try to come to visit you as soon as possible. And I would like to promise that you will come to visit me in Athens also, because you have shown such a deep knowledge of Greek history and art I did not expect from a non-Greek. So there we have so much to discuss about Indian dance and ancient Greek dance. So let's say it's a date, it's an appointment, you and me, who will meet. And then, of course, Dr. Ranganathan, whom I congratulate for organizing this conference. And I will not say something about her achievements and distinctions. You've heard it. There are so many. I will add something of my own that I feel particular affinity with her, because I used to be a professor of management, And as a cultural manager, I am president of CID, not as a dance professional. I'm a dance historian, of course, but I think it's my management know-how that is more important in filling this post. And what I value very much in the personality of Dr. Ranganathan is that she does not only serve her own particular kind of dance, like all artists do. As you know, dance professionals teach, perform, create choreographies in one particular dance. But then they don't have the time because they have to deal with everyday obligations, their family, their job. They don't have the time to go further than that. But we in CID, we insist, we encourage, we propose that they spend at least 1 hour a week in connecting with the wider dance community, with all the dances, all the countries, all forms of dance. Only 1 hour a week is not too much, and it will help them to create better choreographies, to teach better. They have a lot to learn from other kinds of dance in other countries. And Dr. Ranganathan has done exactly that. She is reaching out to the wider community of dancers. And Your Excellency, if you would allow me, I think Dr. Ranganathan deserves a decoration from the Indian government for representing your country in such an important way for so many years in France. And she's an eccentric person of Indian dance in France and in Europe. I can attest that. And this is not because she has chosen me to be a lecturer tonight, because I feel very central in this questioning, because I'm a born unificator. I must confess it. I'm nothing else but a unificator, somebody who is working for the unity of dancers, and it's a passion I had from my early years. Believe it that I was first elected to be president of a non-profit organization in 1961. This is exactly 60 years ago, and I cannot stop. At that time, I was first-year student at the university, technical university in engineering, and I have a dream, the dream of uniting the dancers of the world. It seems a utopia, because the dancers of the world are so many millions. But then it can be done. We're advancing towards it every single day. Fortunately, I have a fantastic team in the CID Secretariat. Very dedicated people, very hardworking, very knowledgeable. And those who are members of the International Dance Council, they're in touch with them. They can be in touch with them every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there are so many others who are inspired by this philosophy, and they work for the wider family of dance. And Dr. Ranganathan is one of them. I have, with the opportunity of this lecture, I have done a little statistics I never did before. I've been traveling at least once a month to a different country for the past at least 20 years since I'm president of CID. This is more than 200 trips to about 70 countries. I go there to meet dance professionals. I listen to them, what they have to say. I offer advice to them. I put them in touch with other dance professionals because I know who they can correspond with whom. I believe in meeting people face to face, discussing with them over coffee, over tea, over wine, over anything. I do not believe in social media. Social media create an illusion. You think you have friends. You don't have friends. You just have cliques. Cliques are not friends. I've tried to work through social media. I have accounts in Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, anything. I have 7 accounts in Facebook. All of them, they are full of friends up to the limit of 30,000. Facebook has blocked all of them. So what? Does it mean I have friends? No. The friends are the people who have met and discussed face to face. And this is what I encourage dance professionals to do. Meet other dance professionals from other forms of dance, other countries, and discuss with them, exchange with them, and see what comes out of it. Maybe they get invited to the other country, maybe they invite the other person to their country as a teacher, as a performer, as a choreographer. We don't know. From our experience, this is what happens. Members of CID, they meet each other at the festivals, at congresses, at conferences, at workshops, so many opportunities. And there they establish their own personal network of friends, colleagues. CID has thousands of members. We try to keep an atmosphere of family. Difficult when you have tens of thousands of members, but this is our objective, this is our philosophy. We don't want to be a bureaucracy. This is an artistic project. Because we know very well that the worst enemy of every artist is isolation. No one can be creative if he's isolated. This is why I suggest this 1 hour a week to reach out to other dance professionals, preferably in other countries, other forms of dance. Of course, everyone knows unity is power. So uniting people, like culture does, empowers them. And this is all about power. We want to be united because this is how we are empowered. And we're lucky to be working in dance, because dance has the most mobility of all the arts. Dancers can travel easily. If you're a painter, you don't travel easily. If you're an actor in theater, you cannot, because you use language. People don't understand you in the other country. Or poets or sculptors, they don't travel so much. Dancers have been traveling since antiquity. You know that in India, I know it in Europe, in South America, in North America, everywhere. Dancers were itinerant actors. They were dancing here and there. They were moving all the time. Yes, of course, now most of you have dance schools and cannot move easily. But somehow you should find the time to move, because moving is part of the art of dance. 1 century ago, famous dancers like Isadora Duncan or Anna Pavlova traveled to dozens of countries. And that was a time there were no flights. They did this in train, with boats. Extremely difficult 100 years ago, but they did it because they were dancers. Dancers travel. This is why our slogan is get moving. Don't stay in your city. Because moving is part of dance, and moving is the instrument to unification. Because culture is a unifier if you move, if you meet other people. If you don't move, there's no unification. And when there's no unification, there's no empowerment. Now, when we propose this to dance professionals, they reply, yes, but I don't get subsidy, the government does not give me money to travel. Don't wait for the government to give you money to travel. Governments nowadays, with the crisis, they have so many other priorities. Unfortunately, the last preoccupation they have is dance or culture, because we have a health issue nowadays, health crisis. We don't know when it will last. So get moving without government subsidy. Go to the next city, go to the next country, go as far as you can, go as often as you can. Sponsors don't take money anymore. Festivals don't pay you to go and perform there. You pay to go to festivals. It's all forgotten, this period, where festivals were inviting the artists to perform. No more. So we keep informing dance professionals that they should keep moving in spite of the lack of sponsors, of subsidies, of means of all sorts. What do we do for that? First of all, we have created the largest directory, not only in dance, in the arts. There's nowhere a directory of 500,000 artists. We have 500,000 dance professionals listed. Go and check your own name or the name of your friends or people you know in dance. They are all there. 500,000 dance professionals, huge. Why? Because we want you to be able to find someone else. We want some other people to find you. Because if they don't find you, they cannot connect to you. We have this program called International Certification. This is the only diploma in dance that is worldwide. Every other certificate, every other diploma, every other document is national. We have the only international one. That your students can go with this to any country of the world and show it, and people say, we know it, we have it. Any other diploma, even if it's from a very prestigious school, has a very limited scope. So we encourage dance teachers, dance schools to award this international certification to the students, because the students sooner or later will have to travel, and they will need it. This is a dancer's passport. Another program is Dance Day. That is long time ago, 1982. Established the 29th of April. 29th of April. All the dances of the world is there. Dance Day is their anniversaries. They celebrate it. Dance schools, choreographers, dance companies, everyone presents something. And we encourage them to present something not to their usual public, to another public, which is not affected by dance usually. Like they have been dancing on board ships, they have been dancing in prisons, in coal mines, in the most improbable places. They present performances because this is the idea of Dance Day, to do something new, but do something, not ignore it. And so many things I don't want to tell you about. I wanted to present this specific aspect of dance as a unifier within culture. And I feel as a dance person, I'm privileged to serve this art, because our possibilities are much higher than other arts. So since I believe most of you are dance professionals, I feel an affinity with you because we are lucky to be here tonight. We have been very unlucky during the last 2 years because dance was hit more than anything else by the pandemic. Schools were closed, the companies were closing down. I mean, there was problems everywhere. Where I met so many dance professionals who are under depression. It was a very hard blow they have received. But now, at least in Europe, at least in America, and most countries, things are getting better. Schools are opening. We are more optimistic. I hope it's some similar situation in India. Sooner or later, dance schools will reopen. We'll have the students back, and we will continue. I wish you fruitful continuation during the next conferences, since this is the first of a series of conferences, and I also invite you to other conferences or seminars, particularly the seminars organized by the Paris section of COE-A&C under the general theme of dance and spirituality. And if you want other particular similar dance seminars on dance, various aspects of dance organized through CID online, which is a program that started during the pandemic to face this inability to travel and will continue until the end of the pandemic. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor. It was really very enlightening and very interesting to listen to you and the way you are federating dancers. Dancers have to keep moving, it's true. I can particularly feel the need because I practice the art of Kathak, and Kathak has traveled from ancient times, and maybe because of that, God sent me here and I'm still traveling. So thank you so much for your very interesting talk. I just have to inform you that His Excellency had to leave for some important event. So I first again thank him so much for having taken so much of his precious time to be with us. So I thank all of you on behalf of His Excellency too. And I will let Master of Ceremonies to take over. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Raftis. I think we could refer to you hereafter as the ultimate cultural globetrotter, since you are in a different country every month. The pandemic has put a break to that. And as you truly said, no art can grow in isolation. Culture and art are powerhouses, not only to communicate, but also to do good. And I'm sure many here will be inspired to become part of the CID and probably also take some of the certification exams that you mentioned. I also want to mention here that our secretary, Shri Abhay Shishimal Jain ji, could not join us, though he was very keen to felicitate the two collaborators because of a change in his flight schedule. So he is actually now on a flight, and he was not able to join for that, but he sent his best wishes. And I'm sure that whatever else we do in our endeavor to popularize art forms, the secretary, as also our principal and vice principal and our staff who are here in large numbers in the meet will always stand behind us. So thank you so much, Professor Raftis. And now we have the formal vote of thanks by Mrs. Srividya, staff of Center of Excellence Art and Culture, after which we will be coming to the close of our session. Thank you so much.
Namaste. To repay a good gratitude is the essence of our culture. With this quote, we, the Center of Excellence Art and Culture, Shasun Jain College, Chennai, and Bindi Center for Art and Culture, France, thank all the hands joining with us for the international webinar ABC series on the occasion of Amrit Mahotsav 75. It's a great privilege for us to thank His Excellency Shri Jawad Ashraf, Ambassador of India to France and Monaco, for gracing this occasion with his presence and delivering inaugural address. Thank you, sir. We extend our thanks to Shri Naman Ubatia, Embassy of India in Paris and France, for the smooth coordination with us for this series. Thank you, sir. Our deep sense of gratitude to the guest speakers, Dr. Padma Subramanyam, Padma Bhushan Awardee, President of Nityodaya, and Professor Dr. Alkis Raftis, President of International Dance Council, Paris, for sharing their valuable thoughts. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. We would like to thank Mr. Constantine Kantogiannis, Vice President, International Dance Council, for his support. Thank you, sir. Our respectful thanks to Shri Abhay Shri Shrimal Jain ji, Secretary, Shri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasun Jain College for Women, and our Associate Secretary Shri Ashok Kumar Mehtaji for giving this opportunity. Thank you, sirs. Our heartfelt thanks to our official partners, ICCR, Ministry of External Affairs, and Ministry of Culture. Our deep sense of gratitude to Mayor of Nantes, Mr. Dennis Prostan, President Bindi, and Mr. Mehan Punuswamy, President Gopio, France. Our heartfelt thanks to our Principal, Dr. S. Padmavati, and Vice Principal, Dr. S. Rukmani, for their continuous motivation and support. This is the right time to thank Dr. Malini Ranganathan, Artistic Director, Bindi, France, and Dr. Raj Shivasidevan, Director, Center of Excellence Art and Culture, Shasun Jain College, Chennai, for their untiring work for the successful inauguration of this ABC series. Thank you, ma'am. Our deep sense of gratitude to all staff and students of Shasun Jain College and Bindi Center of Arts and Culture. Thankful to all the participants join with us. Thank the Almighty for blessing us with a successful event.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Srividya. So we come to the close of our inaugural session, and I'm sure each one of us who tuned in today would have benefited immensely with the scholarly inputs of our ambassador, Dr. Padma Subramanyam, Professor Raftis, and we are all here to gain from that and take it forward. That is an assurance that we would like to give the scholars here, that even in these difficult times, this culture has brought us together. We hope to keep it together and we hope to take it forward as well. I would also like to mention that the feedback form link has been shared in the chat box, and we would like to know your feedback and inputs so that we can improve our sessions as we go along and also satisfy many of the requests of our audience for certain specific topics. Thank you once again to everybody present here. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Bonjour.
Thank you very much. Merci. Merci to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Paduka. Thank you, Professor Raftis. And I feel delighted to start such an auspicious session. So I think I've got the courage to continue. Thank you so much. Feel blessed. Thank you, Rajshree, for your help. Thank you, Sri Vidya, also. Thank you, Constantin, and all of you. Thank you so much. Namaste. Bonsoir.